1 2 in the place to be. How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red, and this is In the Dungeon Show. And off the top, I apologize for getting off to a little bit of a late start, but you can be rest assured that I put together a great show. At least that was the goal. A lot of work has been done, a lot of topics to talk about. That I'll offer to the audience, and I'm sure many of you out there will bless us with your knowledge by offering some things you want to talk about in the chat as well. But I was thinking to myself, as long as I've been doing sports talk radio, and this is a different iteration of that, if you can't be successful and do a good show, a content-driven show in this part of the year, I don't know what to say, to be honest with you, because there's so much to talk about, and I'm excited to do it. If you're listening for the first time, my name is Frank Red. As I said before, this is the In the Dungeon Show. Hit the like button right away. We're trying to run the numbers up. I appreciate you. Everybody who checks out the program tonight, hopefully you'll hit the like button, and we can try to continue to climb that hill. It's not like radio. I wish it was more like radio, where it was ubiquitous and everybody could kind of check you out. There's a lot of work that I need to do in the background that I'm not doing as well as I need to do in terms of the marketing aspects of it. But oh well, the focus is content. That's what it's about. All right. Hit me up at Big Frank Red, also on Twitter, on X. And I have a good time talking to people about sports or whatever. Those that know, it really isn't about agreeing with me or disagreeing or winning a quote-unquote battle. That's ridiculous. I remember having a conversation last night with a gentleman who I believe is in Denver, the Colorado area, who is an emotional Colorado Buffaloes fans. And he was distraught because of how they played against Nebraska. And I just said, both teams are better. And there's so many things looking at this Colorado team, coached by Coach Prime Deion Sanders, that I see significant improvement. Even as bad as the offensive line is, they're still better. So we might get into that a little later. But I was trying to create the context of why I do what I do. I like to talk about sports. I like to educate. I like to learn. So that's what the show is about. I'm Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon Show. And I'm going to set the table first. Anything NFL is on the board. I watched a lot of games today. I watched a lot of clips. I know a lot of the narratives that are out there about things that happen on the field, off the field. So if you have any thoughts concerning that, any comments, feel free to jump in here and speak to that. San Francisco 49ers take on the New York Football Jets tomorrow at Levi Stadium. The 49ers are full go. Even Chris McCaffrey, who has some Achilles and leg issues, calf issues, he's expected to go. I think he'll play well. But the 49ers have a pretty good running back room. So I think that they are feeling comfortable about matching up against the Jets. Dak Prescott got his money. And I'm a Dak Prescott fan. I think he deserves every penny. He's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, probably higher than that. And he went out there today and played flawlessly on the road, leading his team. Not necessarily in statistics, but leading his team. I thought he did a great job against the Cleveland Browns, the Baltic Cleveland Browns, the great pass rush and all that good stuff. And Cowboys basically took care of them, 33-17. We can talk about that. This should play out well for Brock Purdy as well. If Brock Purdy stomps his feet and says, I want to be the highest paid quarterback, maybe he can do it. I don't know if that's his goal. I don't know. Brother's going to get paid. We know that. And he should get paid. So you want to talk about the 49ers and the Jets, what your prognostications are. We can do that. I'm all over college football, a lot of ups and downs. Michigan doesn't look like my Michigan Wolverines. Their quarterback is suspect. I've never seen a Michigan defensive line get manhandled like that, like I saw yesterday. I don't care who the coach is. Even when they were average, they always had a good defensive line. And watching Aiden Hutchinson steamroll the Rams tonight, I was just like, wow. They got to get that fixed. Notre Dame, they should not be losing to Northern Illinois University, although Northern Illinois is a good team. But that's inexcusable. I think the coach knows that. Marcus Freeman basically stated that. So anything along the college football, I was all on top. I was on top of it. There's a little NBA news also out there I want to talk about. I'm going to talk some MLB. I got a take on that. And yeah, so let's go out and talk to Vicky right now. He made a comment. The great Vicky says, "Hi, Frank. It's always great night. When the Lambs lose, I love it. I was very impressed with Cal Saturday, big win for them. Might be their bowl game. A few more wins like that. Who knows? Take care." Thanks, Frank, for having the show tonight. Looks like you were right about Michigan and Nebraska. It was a good game. Both teams are. I mean, watching Michigan, I mean, they'll struggle through a season. I think they'll probably win 8 or 9 games. But in the Big Ten, I don't think they're one of the top 3 teams. I don't think so. I hit the like button. Of course you did, because you're great. You are the great Vicky. I appreciate you so much. Let me get my glasses to make things a little easier for me. So proud. I lost some $500 glasses about a year ago. And I'm going to go buy some more and get fitted and all that type of stuff. They look good, but I haven't had the heart to do it. I bought these for $5. And I'm as giddy as a kid on Christmas morning. All right. $5. Vicky, I want to comment about Cal. Very impressive win against Auburn, 21-14, coming off a tough loss at home against TCU. I'm with you. I think Justin Wilcox, he kind of got his bones up in Oregon as a defensive coordinator, and this team is playing tough. So I think, going into the ACC, teams have to be impressed. How could you not be impressed going on the road and playing against a SEC foe in Auburn and coming home with a victory after traveling damn near 3,000 miles? That's big time, no question. One of my favorites, Aussie Rules. Greeting, Frank from Thailand. Yes. Say hello to my friends on Kasan Road. He wants to give Vicky a shout out. Yeah. Vicky says, Brock already said he will take less to get or keep players to help the team. Yeah, I mean, and Vicky, let's be honest. What is less? 55 million? 57 million? 200 million guaranteed, 175 guaranteed? I mean, Brock Purdy has played this thing perfectly. He wants to get paid. He's going to get paid. But he's found a way to continue to ingratiate himself with the 49er fans, management, so on and so forth. So I'm becoming more of a Brock Purdy fan. And I was on this, on this treadmill to get Dak paid. And I want to see Brock Purdy get paid. I want to see him get paid. He deserves it. USC looked very good. Yeah, they did. They bounced Utah State. And I like Lincoln Riley. A lot of people were kind of down on him, Skip Bayless and Paul Baum. Yeah. Hey, man, everybody has the right to have their own opinion. But a lot of times they're hoping and praying that their take is right. The reality is Lincoln Riley is a brilliant offensive football coach. And he's not a defensive coach. So what did he do? He went to UCLA and plucked their defensive coordinator and got one of the best DCs in the country. And they're off and running. Miller, their quarterback, is playing good football. And I like to see West Coast teams do well. I loved watching Pac-12 football. I did. It was totally different from the East Coast, but I liked watching it. I still can't believe the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore, but the teams exist. And maybe at some point, some facsimile will come back. Let me get your thoughts on the 49ers. What do you think about their prospects for success tomorrow night? But in a larger scale, how do you think they're going to do this season? Because I'm going to tell you right now, watching the LA Rams and the Detroit Lions, this is the best Detroit Lions I've ever seen in my life. That team is built to win a Super Bowl. It's only one game. And, nobody's going to undefeat it. But that's a damn good team. They got it all. They got a top 10 quarterback. They have multiple starting running backs. They got one of the best wide receiving cores out there. The offensive line are a bunch of mashers. And their defense is pretty good. But how could you not be impressed with the Detroit Lions? They look really, really good. And Sean McVay, I give Sean McVay credit. I mean, he knows how to design an excellent offense. Matthew Stafford looks 5 years younger. When you give Matthew Stafford time, even though he got some gray on his cheeks, dude is a straight out stud. He really is. But that was a great game. I'm very impressed with Detroit. Key says, "What's up, Frank? How was your weekend? Can't wait for the Niners game tomorrow." My weekend was fantastic. I don't have any secrets, so I tend to maybe to tell too much about my life, but I don't mind. I actually had surgery on Wednesday. I had to, get something taken care of around my heart area. They inserted something, not a stent, but I was out for a couple of days. I was in the hospital, and the operation was okay. The recovery was a little tougher because they had to go through, kind of a sensitive area to get up there. But I feel fantastic. And the doctor was like, well, you probably don't want to work out for a week. I woke up this morning feeling like $1 million, and I was like, forget that. I'm going to the gym. So 3 or 4 days was all I could take. And I went this morning and worked out, had a phenomenal 90-minute, 2-hour workout, watched sports all day. I'm feeling fantastic, man. I love college football. Love the NFL. Yeah, a lot of good things happening in my life right now, man. So thank you for asking. I appreciate you. Yeah, I am okay. Modern medicine is amazing. And I only speak to it because I want everybody out there listening to the program to not fear going to the doctor, not fear checking yourselves out, because a lot of times that's the thing that keeps us from not recovering or not maintaining our optimal health. So that's why I say it, really, because you shouldn't be afraid of it. Check it out. I don't want to survive in life. I want to live. And I'm living great because I'm healthy. All right. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. They won 18-10 over the Atlanta Falcons. Was it beautiful football? No. Are the Steelers ever going to play beautiful football? Absolutely not. When the Steelers won 4th Super Bowl, tell me one of those teams that were aesthetically beautiful to watch. None of them. but they find a way to win. And everybody, most of the prognosticators, the ex-players, the right, the Pittsburgh, they tough division, they can't win. No, they can win. If you get to the playoffs, to me, you've had a successful year. Justin Fields did his job. 17 of 23, did not turn the ball over. They won the game with 6 field goals. That's going to get better. I'm not totally sure that Justin is going to be the starting quarterback forever. I think he deserves another week. But I like the Steelers because of Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is just a great coach. Doesn't get near the credit that he deserves, man. Vicky says, you need an AC, Frank. Lions look very good. Glad you're doing better. Steph went to WNBA game. Did he? Yeah, I do need an AC, but I don't have one. Oh well. Which WNBA game did Steph go to? The Liberty, I assume, because he's friends with Sabrina Ionescu, so I assume it was the Liberty. I don't know that for sure. I'm interested in seeing Jordan Mason get some reps tomorrow night. I think that Christian McCaffrey has been everything and more than I think the 49ers hoped that he would be. And that's because he's been good, but he's also been healthy. But this might be the year in which he needs to share some of those carries with a player like a Jordan Mason, who's been kind of hanging on the periphery for a while, but people like him, think he's really good. Disappointed by what happened to Elijah Mitchell, 1,000-yard caliber back who is done for the year. So the 49ers have to move on without him. The Jets got good personnel. Garrison Anderson, Ohio State. Mike Williams used to torch the Raiders as a member of the San Diego Chargers. Aaron Rodgers comes back, so should be a good game. I always go with the home team when both teams are pretty close. But maybe Aaron Rodgers might try to have one of those Brett Favre moments against the Raiders when his dad died. So looking forward to a good game, no doubt about that. One thing that really bothers me is all of these different networks that you got to use to watch a freaking game. I mean, give me a break. No one's going to say it, but I think that broadcast of Philly on Friday night against Green Bay, I think it was a net failure. I mean, I tried to sign on to Peacock, and I tried so many times. They were like, well, you try back later. We don't recognize his password. I was like, come on, man. I didn't even want to get it. So ultimately I didn't. I went to a sports bar and I watched like the last couple of quarters, bought a soda, gave a big tip, and I was out of there. And that worked for me. Jalen Hurts made just enough plays to win that game. But he got to get right, man. He's better than that. But he wasn't terrible. He made the plays down the stretch to get Philly in the win column. I've spoken about it before, about John Schoen, the general manager of the New York Giants. Hard Knocks has to be his worst nightmare. How can you, in your worst moment of thinking, ever conclude that losing Saquon Barkley was okay? Particularly to a rival. Are you out of your mind? Saquon Barkley was the best player on the field for Philly Friday night. When your owner, John Mara, walks in the room and says, he goes like this. He goes, Well, you know, Saquon was our most popular player. Uh-oh. Not only your most popular player, he was your best player. And you let him walk out the building for a couple of $1 million. And then, what? John Schoen is on the phone with Saquon's people. Remember what he said? He goes, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do it, but you're going to give us a last try at it, right? A last shot at it, right? And they were like, yeah, wait for it. You know, we'll call you right back. That made everybody watching that program think to themselves, I can be a damn NFL general manager. If that's what it's about, I can be a general manager. You got 19 assistants. Every one of them should have came back to him and said, yo, John, we can't lose Saquon Barkley. You know that, right? Crazy. Key says, do you think the Dolphins should not let Tyreek Hill play since he was caught speeding before the game? Now, this is not an after-school special. This is professional football. Everything, winning trumps everything. I'm giving you the mentality of pro sports and business. If he was healthy, he was going to play. One of my favorite shows to watch is Industry. I don't know if you guys have watched that show. A show on HBO that chronicles kind of like the day in the life of, you know, some young investment bankers and traders and stuff like that. I'm into that stuff, so I like it. What's disappointing now is they're doing more interviews, and many of the actors are just telling the truth and saying that they don't really know a damn thing about finance. And, you know, they got coaches and so on and so forth. So, and as they've gotten more popular, I'm sure in their contracts, it's like, well, I'm not going to take my clothes off as much. There's going to be less sex scenes. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. But then the storylines need to be more interesting. What I found this year is the storylines are not as interesting. As I digress. Tyreek Hill, he has to be accountable for what he did. He should not drive recklessly. Things could happen. With that said, do your job. Give him a citation, you know, hold him accountable, pay a fine, whatever he needs to do. How do you go from speeding to getting out of a car where everybody in the world knows who you are to being face down on the pavement with 3 or 4 cops hovering around you? How does that happen? Now, here comes the obligatory, we got to wait till all the facts come in. I'm right there. So I'm not going to give you a diatribe of how police are bad and this and that. But that's not problem solving. That is not policing. You know what I want from police? I want police who can solve problems. That's not a problem solving technique. It looked horrible. It should not have happened. Yes, I think he should have played. Absolutely. Vicky says Peacock football coverage is a joke. Yeah, I agree with you. It's greed. Absolute greed. And I mean, Vicky, Boise State played Oregon in apparently what was a pretty good game on Peacock late at night. Who the hell is going to pay $7.99 to sign up for Peacock to watch a Boise State or Oregon game? Put that stuff on cable TV and, you know, sell some advertisement and have at it. You know? I'm with you. I mean, hey, I don't have a problem paying for things that I deem to be valuable. You know, I got Prime, and I don't buy Amazon Prime for sports. I buy it because I get, you know, some decent deals. I get stuff delivered. And oh, by the way, I get sports and some movies and stuff. NBC Peacock? Are you kidding me? Nobody's going to pay for that. Aussie Rule says Steph and LeBron seem to have formed a close friendship. Yep. I noticed that, man. And it's actually kind of cool. And I'm going to tell you why. Stephen Curry is different. Stephen Curry comes from a two-parent household. His dad played in the league. You know, he doesn't have any guards up. You know, I mean, literally, how good a player Stephen is, he's a better human being. As great a player as LeBron James is, as much as he's done philanthropically and civically, he still looks at Stephen and goes, damn, I wouldn't have minded to have that upbringing. You know, to have that level of sensibility about myself. And Stephen, I'm sure, looks at LeBron and goes, wow, when you look at the hardship that this guy had to go through, teenage mom, only child, no dad, and look at never made a mistake. They are a lot alike when it comes to basketball. And I think, you know, on many other levels. I would love to see them play together. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't think it will happen. But yeah, they formed a nice bond. And I fell in love aesthetically watching Stephen and LeBron and KD play in the Olympics. I mean, that was beautiful. I said it before. Jordan's the best player I've ever seen, I've ever played against. And but I would take LeBron, Stephen, and KD and put that big three up against anybody. Take any of those players off the 92 team and put them up against that big three. The 92 team is better. But those three players at this advanced age of their career, that's impressive. Vicky says the police pulled him over because he was black. The police officer is on suspended for the stop. It's just not intelligent, Vicky. I mean, whether or not he was black or because he was speeding, you might be right. I have been pulled over in an area in which I did not live in. I've told the story before. Guns were drawn, pointed at my head, could have been killed. I did nothing wrong. And ultimately, I sued the force, and I got a settlement. So justice will prevail, particularly when you don't have a record. I've never been arrested. You know, I'm educated. I can articulate myself. But one slip, one minor little thing, and I could have been dead. Shot in the head 19 times. No way should someone be speeding a block from their employment, being as famous as Tyreek Hill is in Miami. That should not lead to him being handcuffed behind his back with his head facing the ground with 4 cops hovering around him. That's embarrassing. It's what we're trying to get away from. And I go back to problem solving because do I want to see somebody lose their job? I don't know if he has a family, can't pay his mortgage. No. Do good policing. That's not good policing. Key says, I think the key matchup for the Niners, my glasses on so I can see this, will be their D-line versus our offensive line. And I hope Jordan Mason gets the ball. Yeah. I'm interested in seeing what Kinlaw does. Javon Kinlaw. They say that this dude is like 330 pounds now. If you go back before the start of last season, I'm not going to mention this name, but Kinlaw got into it with, you know, like a local content creator, media type who was assessing Kinlaw's play his physical stature, and basically speaking to whether or not the guy could even play in the NFL. And he wasn't the only one, but he was taking some jabs at him, and Kinlaw took offense to it, to the point where he was just like, it got a little uncomfortable. Kinlaw talked about, yo, this is my family and blah, blah, blah. And dude apparently has had a pretty challenging life. And this is where I think Steve Wilkes doesn't get enough credit. I think Steve Wilkes played a major role in the reclamation project of Javon Kinlaw. Gave him his reps, gave him his time, and Javon Kinlaw was able to establish himself as a legitimate NFL player, defensive lineman, and now I think he starts for the Jets. So I want to big him up for that, and I'm interested in seeing, how he matched up. Will he match up against Trent Williams? I don't know. Another one of those subplots that I'm up on. Vicky says Steph is giving $25 million to Oakland Kids program. I didn't know about that. Elaborate more, Vicky, on that. If you have more information, where's the money going to? Again, I'm the biggest Stephen Curry fan. I feel very privileged to be alive and in a space where I can really enjoy watching this guy not only play basketball, but just kind of manifest his life in our region and do it so excellently. Big fan of Stephen Curry, his wife. They do things right. I mean, I go back to the pandemic. When we had the pandemic, nobody fed more people than the Currys, particularly like in the East Bay, and I'm sure many areas that we don't even know about. They fed a lot of people. They not only fed people, the Currys saved a lot of small businesses that either may or may not be in business now, but in the moment, they were giving contracts to a lot of small businesses. I know this because some of them are my friends. Great people. Boppo Jones, what's up? I'm chilling, man. Thank you for tuning in. Did you hit the like button? I'm gonna ask you that. I'm gonna do what all these other people do. I'm gonna beg for likes. I deserve it. SG, hi Frank, how you doing, man? How are you? I'm doing fine. Do you really care? Have you watched any movies lately? This was a tough week because you know how the music industry works. The big blockbusters basically buy up all the theaters. And there aren't a whole lot of movies. I mean, Beetlejuice, that's not something that I really want to see. That's not my headspace. And you can find an independent movie or two, but they play so early. And I don't like to watch movies early. I like to watch movies late at night. And then I go to dinner at an all-night restaurant, something like that. But there's a movie I want to check out called Sing Sing, about this man's journey from what's the prison in Marin County over there? That's not Alcatraz. But yeah, Sing Sing is about this person's journey in prison and out of prison. I got to check that movie out. I have to. If you know what I'm talking about, help me out here. So I'm going to see that within the next couple of weeks. And I actually started writing a TV show last night. I was at like a cafe to like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was doing some work, but I just got inspired to start writing this this TV show that I've been thinking about writing. So I'm kind of playing with some of the characters and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where I am right now. Has anybody heard the LL Cool J album? Let me know if you have. Aussie Rules. Just do what police instructs. No backtalk, no struggle. Pray police do their job correctly. Works 99% of the time, in my humble opinion. Whoa, Aussie Rules. I wish that was the case. If that was the case, then I would not have gotten a settlement from a police department, because they don't like to give black people money when they do things wrong. They don't like to give anybody money, but particularly black males. They don't. And I'm not anti-police. I'm not. I got so many friends who are police officers, FBI, higher level, and they do a phenomenal job. I'm talking about problem solving. And you and I have both spent time in Thailand. I love Thailand. But if you are some type of joker and you go over there trying to think you're going to be real cool, look out. That's not a place you want to play around in. So I understand your perspective. And I'm not somebody who's doing anything wrong anywhere, so I can go anywhere in the world, I think, and be okay. But policing is really about problem solving. And that should be the focus, in my opinion. Frank, I'm doing a 49er post-game show tomorrow. Will I join? If you don't wear shades, maybe. As long as you keep shades on, no, I'm not joining. No, unless you can give me a really good answer why you need to wear shades on video, you know. Frank, I really love how motivational of a person you are. Hey man, I appreciate that. I'm so fortunate. I can go on a diatribe, man, but my life has been incredible, dude. It is incredible. And people have given me so much. What I've had access to, if I can't give it back, I'm not doing myself justice, and I'm not doing the folks who have helped me any good. So I appreciate you saying that. I'm just, it's natural, man. I'm just trying to be the best person I can be. That's all. Aussie Rules, suggest you watch Steph Davidson graduation. Okay. Worth watching. Okay. I will do that. And I'm going to give you something, Aussie Rules. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to tell you why. Stephen Curry's college coach, Bob McKillop, was a high school coach when I was in high school out on Long Island. So I know Coach McKillop very well. And Coach McKillop provided an opportunity for a young man that I was mentoring as a teenager. And went to a great private school. Long Island Lutheran is where Coach McKillop used to coach at. So I never talked to Stephen about that relationship and so on and so forth, but I know what he has been in front of. And that has kind of built a tiny little connection. I know Davidson was the place where he really started to believe. Having somebody to believe in you. I can't think of anything more important than having somebody believe in you. My little brother, I will never forget this. My little brother told me, and he was like 11 years old. I was like 16 or 17. Well, no, maybe I was 18. I mean, I've been in college. But he was young. And he told me, he was like, yo, you can play in the NBA. I was like, what? He goes, you could play in the NBA. He was 12 years old. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. And because I didn't believe it, I didn't chase it. I didn't put everything on the line to do that. I didn't go play in Istanbul. I didn't play in the G League. I took a different route. I don't have any regrets at all. But my little brother saw something in me that was like, wow, he's 12. And I talked to him later on as we became adults. He was like, yo, nobody rebounds like you. Nobody is like, he goes, you're tough. You can play with those guys. Bob McKillop told Stephen Curry that he was going to be a professional player. If you look at those early tapes of Stephen Curry, even as a Warrior, 165 pounds maybe. They said, well, Stephen, what do you want to be 10 years from now? He said, I don't know. I hope I'm in the league. I said, Stephen Curry, top 5 player, top 10 player. He needed somebody to believe in him. That's all it takes. Somebody to believe in you. There's nothing more important than that. Stephen Curry's foundation is called Eat, Learn, Play. Yeah. Great foundation. Papo says, I just went to the NBA Hall of Fame yesterday. Wow. Great experience. Recommended. Yes, upstate New York, right? Yeah. I've never been, but I definitely want to check it out. I'm hoping that I get an opportunity to go to a Hall of Fame ceremony at some point. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I think one of my friends ultimately is going to be in the Hall of Fame. And that's the only reason why I would want to go, just to support him. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that would be the culmination of just an incredible journey involving basketball. Steph and his wife foundation helping kids eat, read, and athletics. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you, San Quentin. Right. Sing Sing the movie chronicles this man's journey at San Quentin, in and out of that I guess it's an institution, is it? No, it's a facility is what it is. So I want to check that out. But because it's an independent film, it doesn't have a lot of showings, doesn't have a lot of theaters. I would have to make a sacrifice to go see it early. Maybe I will. I don't know. Vicky says, who is your friend? You want me to put that out there, Vicky? You want me to do that? All right. I'll do it once. The coach of the Chicago Bulls, Billy Donovan, and I are really good friends. And I don't know how Bill is not going to make the Final Four. I mean the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. He's a 2-time national champion. I think Billy's took Florida maybe 3-4 Final Fours. I don't know. They named the court after him. He's been a successful NBA coach. I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I mean, he's been in my house. He's eaten my mother's food. We should go play basketball in my neighborhood. So we're really friends. We're not just kind of like, celebrity friends. That was my teammate. No, I got his number. I mean, we're cool. But we got so much respect for each other. It's not like I don't call him. I don't, hey, Bill, what are you doing? Nah, he's living his life. I'm living my life. But we are friends. And I think that that would be great to be in attendance when he is bestowed that great honor, because I think it's going to happen. All right. Hopefully everybody listening to the program is hitting the like button. That was my one request. We're talking about it tonight. We're talking about the NFL. All of the games are fair to talk about. Couple of outcomes. That was so Jerry Jones. 3 hours before the season starts, he signs Dak Prescott to a contract. You know what I'm saying? Vicky says, that's cool. Yeah, it is cool. Jerry must play poker or something, because I'm like this. Jerry Jones looked at Saquon Barkley leaving the Giants for nothing. And he realized that Dak Prescott, a quarterback who we've nurtured, evaluated, built our team around, could be gone for nothing. We got a $10 billion investment. His contract is what? 1% of that investment? 2%? I feel sorry for Daboll, the coach of the Giants. I think Brian Daboll is a good football coach. But I think that he's going to have to, take one for the team if Joe Sheehan, the general manager, is fired. And there's a good chance that he would be fired. They got cooked by Minnesota today, 28-6, with Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. Sam Darnold was way too young coming out of USC. He was like 20 years old. And he played for a terrible team in the Jets. Everybody also who comes through San Francisco gets better. Everybody. They get to learn. They get to process things. So I'm happy for Sam Darnold. It would not surprise me some of the other guys that come through here. I'm not giving up on Trey Lance. I'm not. I know everybody's like, Red, you are crazy. I'm not giving up on this guy. Everybody doesn't learn at the same rate. Everybody doesn't learn at the same rate. It takes time. It takes time. Ashiru says, I hit the like button. Hit it, please. Thank you. I appreciate you. Vicky says, I'm happy for Dak. Yeah, I am too. Can anybody take the Raiders seriously with what they put out there on the field playing quarterback? I mean, come on. Am I going to crush Gardner Minshew, a guy who has established himself as an NFL quarterback? No, I'm not going to do that. But how could you say that you're serious about winning if Gardner Minshew is your starting quarterback in the NFL, where parity prevails? Parity is so ubiquitous. Parity. All these teams are close. I can't help it. Every time I see the Raiders, and the Raiders were part of my childhood, I really admire the Raiders. Lineage, their heritage. But I can't not look at the Raiders and think of just a complete money grab right now. But, if they had a Dak Prescott, can you imagine the Raiders with Dak Prescott? Are you kidding me? Lighting up that division? It's not like they don't have good players. They have good players. They don't have a quarterback. Antonio Pierce, I think, is an evolving young coach. He needs a quarterback. SG says, I will continue to wear a Trey Lance jersey and people they're not going to boo you. Why would they boo you? Why would anybody boo anybody? Doesn't make any sense to me. I wanted to go back again to just an observation of the Colorado Buffaloes. I have more and more respect for Shedeur Sanders. They were talking up the kid Quinn Ewers, the quarterback at Texas. That was a nice ball, good size, playing in a great offense. But he's playing behind the Great Wall of China. Okay? Can you imagine if Shedeur Sanders was playing behind a good offensive line? You know the numbers he would put up? Crazy numbers. He's accurate with the football. He knows how to read defenses. I think he's a good player. And when some quarterbacks start bitching and moaning because they're getting hit, he gets back up. I give him a lot of credit. I'm really impressed with Shedeur. And if Colorado wins 6 or 7 games this year, I think that's a tremendous success. And people want to look at Deion, and because he talks the way he does in this, this evangelist type way, is very inspirational. I think sometimes people get it wrong, and he gets all the money, he has all the commercials. Don't worry about that stuff. Focus on football. What he's done for Colorado is amazing. No one else could have done that. The fact that Nebraska was not good before Rule got there is just shameful. The history, you can't compare Colorado history with Nebraska's history. It's no comparison. Tom Osborne? Are you kidding me? Colorado football has brought a level of stability to that university financially. And, I think that they're building. It's hard going out and recruiting offensive linemen. And if you're going to coach them up, it's going to take you 2 or 3 years. I just want Deion to stick it out. I would be really disappointed if after 2 years, when his star sons have both moved on to the NFL, and Travis Hunter, he decides it's not what he wants to do anymore. Then I think his critics will have a lot of ammunition to really get on him, because he's not done. He's not done building that program. A couple of basketball topics. I'm happy for Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, but I was surprised that the Nuggets stepped out there and extended him for the amount of money that they did. He signs a 4-year deal for $208 million, guaranteed, coming off, serious injuries throughout his career. I don't know if he'll ever play for Canada's Olympic team again, where he was used. One didn't even really start, and it just was not a good experience for him. So I'm happy that he got his money. I really am. But I didn't think that would happen so quickly. Good for him. I'm also going to say this. I'm reading reports in the media, whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. But if the Golden State Warriors offer Jonathan Kuminga $140 to $155 million for 5 years, he's not going to take it. Maybe that's their starting point. Maybe they want to negotiate, but he's not going to take it. He's not. You can argue that he's not worthy of X. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's really about the market. If they don't want to pay him, fine. Trade him mid-season. They're not going to just let him go. They're too smart for that. But he's going to get his money. He's going to get paid. So I think that $140, $155 million offer, if it is true, and it's probably not, I think it's ridiculous. A good piece of news, Gary Payton Hall of Famer of Seattle Supersonics fame, has been named the head coach of the College of Alameda's as a head basketball coach. And that's a legit program. That's a legit program. He was coach at NAIA before that. But, for Gary Payton to get that job in as competitive an environment as California JUCO basketball is, he's going to have an opportunity to show a lot of people that he can coach. And the downside of that is, just because you're a great player, it doesn't mean that you can transfer that knowledge to your players. So he's going to have to really do a great job. Now, a lot of JUCO ball, people will say it's mostly recruiting. And recruiting is a big part of it, just like sports in general. But you got to do some teaching. And you got to have a system. And I give Gary a lot of credit because he doesn't have to do this. He could show up at events, golf outings. There's a lot of, large scale and local advertisements all over the country that would pay him money to show up and kind of be Gary Payton. But this shows me that, there's something about basketball that he feels he has to offer young people and maybe show people in NBA circles or college circles that he's worthy of a bigger stage to do his thing. So I am happy for Gary Payton. I wanted to certainly bring that news to you as well. JK wants 250. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get that. If he goes out and he produces, I don't care what people make. I mean, I worry about money when they start putting it in the grave with you. All right? They're not putting any money in the grave. I don't worry about it. I mean, how many cars, how many meals, how many houses, how many sneakers, how many suits? I mean, come on, stop it. I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to make of it. Like, I don't draw any conclusions. But you've seen some athletes where they go, this is my sneaker room, and they got 1,000 pair of sneakers. Really? Really? Help me out here. Or somebody who has a closet full of expensive bags. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But I don't really value things. I value people. I value knowledge, and I value people. Earlier tonight, I got an email, a text message, from one of my former players, and I don't really do Facebook and the social media stuff, so I don't really know how it works. But I saw his name and I reached out to him, and he reached back out to me. He's a young man who I coached before, and he was like, "Hey, coach, I got your message, and yeah, I would like to get together, maybe have a meal, or kind of touch base." So we're gonna do that. This is somebody who I haven't coached in 10 years. It's about the memories. It's about the memories. It's about the people. It's not about the things. It's not about the things. So, I don't really care about things, and money is a tangible asset. Not all that important. Thoughts on Frank Gore to be inducted into the 49ers Hall of Fame, week 1. I love it. I love it. I think it's incredible. I think it's outstanding. I've been following Frank Gore since he was at Miami. And Frank Gore's career could have never happened because he had a serious knee injury, I believe, after his freshman year or sophomore year. I don't remember right now. But he had a serious injury. And the Willis McGahees of the world and so many other great players that he was touted ahead of kind of took the reign. And he just kind of worked himself into literally one of the best careers yardage-wise in the history of the NFL. So I'm a big Frank Gore fan, and I respect him. And when organizations like the 49ers acknowledge you as a person, that means that you're a good guy, because they don't do that with everybody. Players are very transient, very changeable. So when they acknowledge you as a person, that means that you made, some good connections in the building. So good for Frank Gore. I'm happy for him. Vicky says, you can give Gary some pointers. Yeah, I probably could. Particularly coaching big men. I can coach any position, but yeah, that's a funny thing. If you are a head coach, I think you need to, like your players, be a lifelong learner and really embrace learning. Some coaches are not like that. Some coaches want the glory. Some coaches, I remember when I first started coaching, and I was coaching with an organization that always had good players. It was a school, actually. And this school always had really good players. I didn't know about it, but they always had good players. So we would win every year, win a lot of games every year. And one year, and I was still playing the pro-ams and doing a whole lot of stuff. And one year our players was not quite as good. And we didn't win as much. I was like, whoa. One of those light bulb moments. We're winning because I'm a good coach, but I have good players. It's about the players. It's not about the coaches. It's about the players. That humbled me because I had to stop thinking like a player. Because if you're a player and you're pretty good, you can handle yourself out in the court, you go out and make it happen. Give me the ball. I'll get that rebound. I'll get that layup. I'll get that jump shot. But when you're a coach, you got to take a step away from the on-court action and say to yourself, how can I help all of these players be their best? How can I get them to play above their talent level? How can I have them feel that their career is actually more important than I've ever done? How do you do that? That level of humility is really what coaching is all about. It really is. And there hasn't been a lot of great players who have been great coaches. Tell me one. I can't think of any. There must be. I mean, Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was a player coach. Bill Russell comes to mind. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't think of a great player who was a great coach. And it's that thing that I'm talking about now. If you can humble yourself. Now, there have been many great football players who have become great coaches. I think part of that is because, you got to hone into the physicality in football that's different from other sports. Totally different. Pain, selflessness, dedication, love of one's brother and sister. That's football. Basketball, go get some players. Go get some players, coach them up, teach them, and they will get it done for you. SG says, the San Francisco 49ers today announced that running back 5-time. Okay, you talked about that. All right. Angel Reese's season is over, unfortunately. She has a wrist injury that's going to require surgery. That coincides with Chicago pretty much coming to the conclusion that they're not going to make the playoffs. So I salute Angel Reese for the great season that she had. It'd be good to see how much she improves next year. If she could ever become a consistent offensive player, I mean, she could potentially be an MVP candidate because her rebounding numbers, I don't think, are going to go down that much. Her defensive prowess, I think, is only going to get better. But offensively, I think that she has some levels to get to, and she got to get to work. But what a great season. She was drafted number 7 overall in the first round, and she's going to finish number 2 in Rookie of the Year, next to Caitlin Clark, who had 25 points and 12 assists today. Aaliyah Boston had 30, actually. And they won in overtime against the Atlanta Dream, 104-100. They're now 19-17, 2 games above 500, and they're already going to be in the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to watching them play in the playoffs. And I am a big fan of WNBA basketball. The Liberty are my team, but what a great year. And Caitlin Clark has played a major role in that process. Vicky says, now that Steve has won the gold medal, do you think he will be able to get into Hall of Fame? Oh, man. Steve Kerr, and I don't use these military terms lightly. I mean, Steve Kerr's a general. I mean, if Steve Kerr was in the military, I think ultimately he would be a general. He's a great leader, phenomenal leader. And that mental toughness that I think leadership requires was on display when he was a player, when he was in college. You know, I can criticize. I can be honest. I can criticize. Well, not criticize. I can be critical of Steve Kerr. I think sometimes he can get kind of a little fixated and be maybe a little stubborn. But nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has their way of doing things. At the end of the day, he's a brilliant basketball coach and a brilliant organizer, and I think a phenomenal leader. And big fan of Steve Kerr's. I just want him to give Moses Moody an opportunity, and I want him to kind of leave Kuminga alone because the game is changing. The game is changing and players evolve, and sometimes doing nothing is the best thing that you can do. Just let guys play. Just let them play. There isn't one way to do anything. Let's go back to the Olympics. The one move that Steve Kerr made that impacted USA men winning a gold medal was he didn't flinch at all when Stephen was struggling a little bit. Didn't flinch at all. And there might have been some other coaches, oh, I don't know, maybe we got to start. No. None of that happened. Because he knew. He knew that at some point, Stephen Curry was going to get it right. And Stephen Curry, let's be honest, in the medal rounds, he was the most important player on the team. He played the best. I thought LeBron deserved the MVP. I do believe that. But Stephen Curry played the best at the end when it mattered most. A historic run that we've never seen before. Some of the top college quarterbacks that are still doing their thing. It's going to be interesting to see how they translate to the NFL. Jalen Milroe of Alabama, man, what a player, what a talent. Cam Ward, Washington State fame, now at University of Miami. Quinn Ewers, Ewers, the Texas quarterback, he looks like a stud to me. And Shedeur Sanders. I think those are the top four. If I'm missing anybody, let me know. But like the kid who transferred from Duke, who's at Notre Dame now, I know they're like, this is a player that we thought we were getting. He's decent, but he looks like a pretty decent college quarterback. He's not what they thought they were getting. Those other four players I mentioned are absolute studs. Now, the kid who's in the system for Kiffin, what's his name? Hart. I think he started at USC. He's balling. He's putting serious numbers up. But I don't know if those that his ability is because he's in a high-powered system, or is he really, really good? I don't know. Vicky says that's sad about Angel. I think it's sad, Vicky, but I think it could be a part of a narrative. It wouldn't surprise me if they put something on it, because again, she has a single season rebounding record all to her own. They're not making the playoffs. So what is she really playing for? Maybe this is an opportunity the last 5 games to get a look at some players on the bench who haven't played this season, who they're thinking about potentially re-signing. Maybe this will create space in the lineup for Cardoso to be featured more. These are all the things that I'm sure the organization and the coach is thinking about at this point, because Angel Reese is really not playing for anything. So if she has a wrist injury, and I'm sure she does, it might be a good time to just kind of sit her back and say, yo, just chill. Now, I know RC rules. I know Vicky. I know everybody else says, I can't see it. But hopefully you've hit the like button, all right? Because we need it. Run the numbers up. You guys have talked about the potential of us seeing Jordan Mason tomorrow night to relieve Christian McCaffrey on occasion. Hopefully that happens. For the first time, I'm starting to get a little worried about Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers quarterback. He was sacked 4 times today. I didn't watch the game, but I'm concerned. I am concerned. They got thrashed by the New Orleans Saints 47-10. I admire this young man. Environment means everything. I think he will get through it because he's mentally tough. But I'm concerned, all the hits, all the losing, it's not good. It wears on you. It really does. And I would have to watch Carolina play to have a full evaluation of what's happening. But 47-10, they were down, like 30-3 at halftime. It's bad. It's really bad. Randomly last night, I was, like I said, I was writing and I was doing some work. And every now and then I'll peek at the Giants, the San Francisco Giants, baseball. Because I said at the beginning of the year, they would win between 81 and 85 games. I thought they'd win. They're 2 games below 500 with maybe about, I don't know how many games they have, like maybe about 15 games. And I think that they're going to be at least a 500 team, maybe slightly better. I almost want to give them like a data boy. This team is almost 500. And the batting average is 239 as a team. They don't have one player, I think, who's hit over 25 home runs. Not one. So I kind of went into a rabbit hole, started doing a deeper dive into baseball. And 20 years ago, the Giants bat .239 as a team. 20 years ago, the worst team in Major League Baseball hit .250. The worst team was batting 30th. We're hitting .250. The Giants are number 20, and their batting average is .239. Baseball's in a little trouble. Diehard baseball fans, I'm sure, you don't want to hear it, but it's true. The game of baseball is suffering. And I love baseball. I play catcher, right field, and first base. The game is suffering. I don't know what they're going to, outside of Judge and Oshani, Mookie Betts is hurt this year. Otherwise, he would have around 35 home runs. It's not that many guys in the game right now. A lot of some good players, but it's not what you and I were used to. There's no Canseco and McGuire. So, again, I'm thinking about the game that I love. I will say this. If I owned a house, I would bet the value of my house. I don't own a house. But if I own, listen, the A's in Las Vegas are going to be a complete disaster. Any intelligent person would reach that conclusion. If you are a city council person in Las Vegas and you had the unadmitted gall, the audacity to okay hundreds of millions of dollars to build a stadium, good luck. You're probably going to be moving out of town in about 3, 4, 5 years. That is going to be an unmitigated disaster. Horrible. I reached that conclusion when I'm watching Arizona State play football on Saturday night in September. I forgot who they were playing. I don't remember who they were playing last night, but I'm watching the game. And it's literally like 8 o'clock at night, and they had this gimmick where they were frying eggs in a pan at night. It was like 115 degrees. Baseball in Las Vegas, 82 games of that stuff. No dome? The domes are not good for baseball anyway. Listen, I have not heard an intelligent conversation. I have not heard someone build an intelligent argument why baseball in Vegas is going to work at the major league level. I'm not rooting against it. Life's too short. I wish they had stayed in Oakland, but it's not going to work. Because Carolina was just bad, all areas, nothing good, just a bad team. I agree with you. RC Rule says, what do you think about new NFL kickoff rule? It's not working. I think the brilliant geniuses that came up with that thought that a 10 or 20 yard difference was going to make players and teams react accordingly. I don't like it. I understand the intent. The intent is we don't want players to get hurt. But in that process of, I think, trying to look out for players, you hurt the game. You think teams really care if the opposition has to go 70 yards to score or 80? The 10-yard benefit that you get is not worth it. People don't care. So, you know, one way you won't get hurt is you kick the ball through the end zone and they get the ball at the 30-yard line. Who cares? So it's not working. It's not working. And I don't think it's going to work. I love watching college football on Saturdays where they have real kickoffs. The Giants are mediocre. Yes, they are. Why would you want to play baseball in Las Vegas? I can't think of a reason. You got an NFL team. You have a WNBA team. You have a market where UFC is king. And you're going to get an NBA team. In a market where you don't really have a great middle class. What is middle class? A household of what? $150,000 a year? That's middle class, right? You got two people. If you got one person, $80,000 a year, 80, 90 in 2024. I mean, can they afford and sustain to pay for a baseball team? I don't think so. SG says, my best friend works at the Oakland Coliseum, and I feel sad that he might have to leave California and move to Sacramento and work for the Sacramento A's. Yeah. Roger Craig, not in the Hall of Fame yet. Yeah. I feel bad about that, Aussie Rules. I mean, we don't see Roger Craig around a lot. And let's be honest. If Roger Craig had not fumbled against the New York Giants in the NFC Championship game, which created an opportunity for the Giants to kick a game-winning field goal at Candlestick and move on. I think that was at the Super Bowl clinching game. The 49ers had that game. I think Roger Craig would be in the Hall of Fame, and I think he would be much more prevalent in the minds of 49er fans at this point. I think it's sad. I think that it's almost like the Wade Boggs ball going through his legs. He had a tough time after that. And ultimately, Boston kind of acknowledged that maybe they could have done things differently, and they embraced him. And I would love to see that because, as you know, as soon as that happened, Roger Craig was basically on his way to Minnesota. He finished his career as a Minnesota Viking. So I don't like that. I think that was a black eye for the 49ers, personally. But I think they have an opportunity to fix it. And hopefully they will fix it because I think the 49ers are one of the best organizations, one of the historic franchises in the NFL. But that was a misstep, in my opinion. One play defined his career. Poor Roger. Yeah. Yes. It happened. It happened. And it should not have happened, but it did. Yeah, man. I've seen a lot of sports and a lot of stories, and I'm so happy I got my faculties together. Why do I remember all this stuff in such detail? It's now I can forget what I was talking about 30 seconds ago with these like distant pictures that I have in my head. Yeah. I'm going to say this too. Over the weekend, I got a chance to watch an interview on Sirius Satellite Radio. It was from Sirius Satellite Radio. It was Sway from Sway in the Morning interviewing Mark Jackson, NBA fame, and his son Blue. They have a popular podcast on the It Is What It Is network with Cameron and Mace, and it was excellent. It's really, really good, and it kind of chronicles Mark's tenure as a coach of the Golden State Warriors, and it also it kind of names and it lays out the humanity that was bestowed between Mark and Steve Kerr. Kerr never talks about the history of the Warriors without giving Mark credit for what he did. And Mark is effusive in his praise of what Steve Kerr was able to do after he left. And I love that. I love that because I've known Mark for a long time. I played with Mark. He helped me become a better player. I know his journey. He was not like a superstar from the onset. He was one of the best players in New York, but he was not the best player. And ultimately, he had the best career. Why? Because he just worked at it. He worked at it, and, you know, he's still young enough, I think, to lead a team in the NBA, and I think do well. And to think that he's never going to get that opportunity again, to me, is beyond unfortunate. I just think it's flat out wrong, and I would like to see that change. But he's a good man. He's a good man, and I think it's worth your time. So you might want to check that out. All right. SG says Oakland will become a ghost town if the A's leave Oakland. I don't know about that. I would tend to disagree with you. Vicky says I'm still heartbroken over that play. Yeah. SG says Sway in the Morning is a weekday. Why are you doing this? Why? Why do you like give like a chat GP2 like informational account of things that why? We know this. If somebody has a question about the information, they'll ask. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that like I'm a visual learner, right? So everything that I write down and I prepare for, like when I prepare, I have to write things down. I type it out myself. Because when I type things out and I do the research and I study it, I won't forget it. But you know how some like rappers walking around with like phones and reading lyrics off of phones? What is that? It's just different. It's a different way of learning. Once I've done the research on it, I never forget it. Vicky said, I hope Mark gets another chance on coaching. Yeah, it'd be nice. It would be nice. Well, I don't know. First great week of sports. This is the best time of the year, and it's only going to get better. You guys know that literally in 6 weeks, the NBA is going to start. The first game of the year will start in 6 weeks. That's crazy to me. Most of the players, if they're not in town already, they're going to be in town over the next 2 weeks, basically having unofficial practices. So the NBA season is pretty much here. Football is just starting. Baseball is kind of doing its thing. The WNBA is wrapping this season up. It's a great time to be a person who wants to talk about sports or just watch. Great time. Vicky's happy about football. She said, can't wait to see the Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors. I like what the Warriors did this offseason. I've said that numerous times. I do. All right. Okay, so we talked about a lot of different topics tonight, and I want to thank you guys for joining me. It's been 90 minutes. It does not feel like 90 minutes. It just doesn't. I could do more, but I want to be respectful of people's time. The start of the week, I definitely want to respect that. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game between the 49ers and the Jets. Hopefully you will get the outcome that you're looking for. And who knows, maybe I'll jump on unexpectedly at a particular point moving forward. SG, like I said, I made my statement. Like I said, I want you to start hosting some shows, and I'll check them out. I don't mean shows you did. I don't want you to talk about this now. All right. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining in. Hopefully you've hit the like button or you follow me on X at Big Frank Red, and subscribe to the In the Dungeon show. I appreciate all y'all. It is a pleasure and an honor to do this show, and I thank you for tuning in. So thank you very much. As far as Thailand, Aussie Rules, thank you. As close as you are, I appreciate all of y'all. Vicky says, go Niners. Thanks, Frank, for a great show. All right, I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. All right, hit me up at Big Frank Red on X and subscribe to the show. Beyond that, be safe and have a wonderful evening and week. Good night. Peace.